Hi, Marie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing all right.
Good.
Yeah, we just got our train tickets today, so
Did
we're ready
you?
for the holiday express.
Congratulations. I know that's gonna be fun. I'm so glad we're doing it this year.
Me too.
We're anticipating it will sell out quickly, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys did that last year or 2 years ago?
We've
Like,
done it,
every
since
year?
the first year. Yeah, because we're like spitting distance from Bellevue Park.
That's
so
right. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. You guys can walk over.
Exactly.
Home.
We've had some friends who we actually haven't seen probably since the last one we went to who have come with
Really?
us for the ones that we've gone to.
Oh,
And so they're like, come
fun.
and go with us. They live in Central Park, so
Oh, cool.
yeah,
Very cool.
drawing them from everywhere.
Yeah, I guess so, huh? They're kind of just talking about the farm and train in the summer, and we're able to track now where people are coming from. And we're getting people, it's a big tourist attraction. And I actually had friends coming to visit from out of state, and I was like, okay, what should we do? What touristy things? Farm and train was like number 3 on the list on this one website I found. I'm like, that's cool. That's
That
really
is cool.
Yeah. And then the Denver Zoo and the normal stuff. But I was like, for Inglewood, that's really
I'll take it.
awesome.
I know every time I give someone like a point of reference for where we live, they're like, oh yeah, we know Bellevue Park.
It's a cool park.
It
It
is
really
a great
is.
park.
Yeah, it is. I'm not sure if I'm ready for this weather change. I just tried to turn on my furnace and I'm like, it's not working. So I think I'm gonna have to figure something out.
Oh no. We've like bumped our heat on today and like got all smoky, like not smoky, but just that like first time smell.
Burn the dust off.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know it's good to do it early so you can open windows and kind of let that all vent out a little bit before it's really cold.
But no, we are not even close to ready.
No. I know, I was enjoying summer. Now it's gone.
Totally. Went fast.
It did. It really did. I guess we had more to do this summer than last, probably. So
totally.
Yeah, don't want the fun to end.
Hey, Debbie, is there anything specific I need to know for leading the meeting?
There's not. This meeting's pretty simple to do.
Okay.
So,
that's what I thought.
And we'll help you along the way.
Okay, that's what I figured.
So motions, anything like that.
Okay.
Hi, Scott.
Hello.
Hi, Scott.
Hello.
Are you in a closet?
No, I'm in my office. I just have the lights up by my desk lit up.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So, no, I'm actually in a Queen video of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Excellent. Very good.
I should probably kill some of these tabs that are eating up my bandwidth.
Oh.
Although we did get fiber, so.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Have you noticed a difference?
Yeah. Mostly I notice, of all things, when I have my phone on Wi-Fi, it just responds a lot faster than it used to. So yeah.
Good. That's great. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Mark, you're burning the midnight oil at the library, I see still.
Lighting this room fortunately hides the dark circles that are forming under my eyes.
Good Lord.
We're worried about being short-staffed tonight, but we had Kelly come in and the guard showed up, great guard tonight, so we're actually in really good shape out there, which is unexpected. Yeah,
that's great. Good to hear. Hey, Andy, you may know this question or an answer to it. Denver has supposedly hired a lot of homeless individuals to perform work for the city. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know a ton, but I can definitely find out.
Could you find out and let me know maybe who's overseeing that program? We've been, we're hiring an individual we've met in Inglewood to work in our parks department. We're trying to jump through hoops because of federal law of needing 2 forms of ID and direct deposit and address and all those things. And so if you could find out maybe who's overseeing that program and just shoot me some information, I'd really appreciate it.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you.
It's 7, Debbie. Oh, how are we on numbers?
We have a quorum.
Okay, so should we start?
Okay. And I'll pull up the agenda after I do roll call.
Okay, all right, it's 7 o'clock and I will call this meeting of the library board to order.
All right, Vice Chair Marie Hotta.
Here.
Bryn Dunning.
Here.
There she is. Scott Gilbert.
Here.
Sarah Harkness.
Here.
Right, Guy Mason is not present. Austin Stryker.
Here.
Andy Sakaris.
Here.
Inglewood Schools Liaison Jen Hubbard. You know, Jen did sign on just a second ago, so.
Yeah.
And Council Member Dave Cuesta. Excused, we have Chair Amy Wilson. Staff, we have Director Christina Underhill and Library and Cultural Arts Manager Mark Mullis. All right, thank you.
Okay, did anyone have a chance to look over the minutes?
Move to.
Go on. Sorry.
Oh, just move to approve the minutes.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. Let's move on to, I don't think we have any public comment. Let's go to the reports.
Okay. Hey, everyone. Biggest change this month would be that once again, we're able to track physical visitor numbers. As I mentioned in previous months, we had a new traffic counter system installed at the doors. Didn't get activated till about a week and a half ago. But fortunately, because they were installed at the start of September, they were collecting data all that time, even if the actual numbers were inaccessible to us. So I'm not 100% sure if what we're seeing here, the 5,251 number, is capturing numbers from both sensors. So we'll kind of see over the next few months how that shakes out, because what we're seeing there is about a little more than, or about a third of what we saw in September if we go back to the 2019 and 2018 reports. And I think our traffic is lower than it was back in 2018, 2019, but I don't think it's a third of what it was back then. So you can see this 17,000-ish physical, the physical visitors numbers. So we'll just keep an eye on that over the next couple months and see how that shakes out. It's possible that what we're seeing partly is the different systems for counting are grabbing very, very different numbers. I'm confident that the new system is going to be the more accurate one in the long run. It's a pretty fancy sensor system. It's really nice. It gives us a breakdown of traffic by day of the week, by hour, so we can get some. We could do some good statistical analysis on stuff if we ever want to look at, oh hey, on Fridays at 5 o'clock or up until 5 o'clock, it's super busy. So maybe there's justification in extending the hours there. And these days traffic drops off a cliff after 4 o'clock, maybe we take hours away from there, that sort of thing. So it'll give us some opportunity to do that sort of analysis in the future. But anyway, I wanted to point out that we are able to start collecting data around foot traffic again. Beyond that, numbers are going to be pretty much in line with what we've been seeing over the last few months. The digital circulation numbers went down a touch compared to the last few months. They're still outpacing where they were in 2020, but not by as wide a margin as they have previously. Not sure if that's reflective of just us needing to put a little more promotional weight behind them, or it might just be patterns of behavior around summer coming to an end. Let's see what else. Our internet computer usage is staying high. We're definitely busy over on that part of the library. Volunteers, we have a couple of regular volunteers again. So these numbers no longer reflect teen volunteers from the summer months, which is where a lot of our volunteers hours have been coming from. Now we just have a few community members who are back in the library helping us to shelve books and that sort of thing. Children's numbers will reflect that September was the month that we brought story times back in person. And so we're able to get a little bit better data on people who are actually attending story times rather than the ones who are watching on Facebook. Those numbers were really hard to try to pin down. And we were still doing story times in the park as late into the season as we could. And those have come to an end now.
It's pretty cold out there right now.
Yeah.
So cold.
I appreciated that Kimberly was like, I think we can do them basically, through, partway through September. It's like, all right, yeah, let's do it. Any questions about any of this?
Are the computers so busy that that people have to wait to use them, or is there enough turnover that there's not much wait time?
No, we don't, no wait time right now. We're not at, I have not seen yet us hit capacity where people have had to make reservations. Although just tonight I was looking around to see we're close. We've got about 20 computers available to the public, and I think we had 17 in use. So they're steadily used, but right now, a couple of months back we changed the way we assign time to the computers so that it used to be like you'd have a 2-hour strict limit and then it would kick you off. And then during the pandemic, when we had to reduce we're still during the pandemic, but at the peak of the pandemic, when we had to reduce the computer numbers, we only had 10 of them available. We dropped that down to 1-hour sessions. And then I think I mentioned that previously. So now we're at 2 hours, and as long as nobody's waiting, people can stay on. And so we have some people who are on the computers for 5-6 hours at a stretch. Some people will basically show up right when we open and be here all day. So if we hit capacity, what happens then is that people will have to set up a reservation, and then the system knows who logged on earliest, and it'll prioritize that as the first person to kind of give the heads up to say, hey, you're not gonna be able to extend your time anymore. Somebody's waiting on the computer. But it hasn't, if it's happened, it's been very infrequent so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
How is the teen space? I know we kind of updated it and revamped it. How is that working out for teens in the community?
Hearing really good things from the ones who are using it. I know that it's largely being used right now for after school sessions and for programs. And kind of just a general hangout space. So for example, they're in there tonight, a handful of them doing the Tuesday afternoon teen programs. We don't open it up all day long because we want to make sure that it is an actual teen space. And so we open it up certain times a day when we know that we're gonna see that kind of traffic. We open it up when we have a program, and we open it up when teen library patrons request access to it. But because of concerns about it kind of being this is always the challenge with teen spaces in libraries, is sometimes they're a very appealing hangout spot for people who are not teens, and that can sometimes create conflicts or concerns about who's spending time in that space. And given the nature of this being its own room in the library, we're trying to be a little extra cautious about it. I think that, I was talking to Kimberly about this not long ago, and I think the sense was that as we get more used to this, we might open it up a bit more.
I liked my kids when they were teenagers, but generally I don't enjoy hanging around teenagers who who uses it that's not age appropriate.
Hasn't been an issue here. Hasn't been an issue here at Englewood, but I know that at other libraries, I've seen just adults will just kind of grab whatever computers available, and if it's the ones in the teen space, they'll go for the ones in the teen space. I have worked in libraries where there have been some creepy people hanging out in the teen space who really shouldn't have been, and I think that's the fear here, and that we move to a situation we want to avoid. So yeah, hopefully we don't ever go down that road.
Yeah.
How are the children programming numbers like feeling to the library staff?
Story time. September doesn't have a ton of kids programs because it's kind of a transitional month for us. And Kimberly was on vacation for the back half of September at this time. So, but the story times are not where they were prior to the pandemic. We're definitely seeing some hesitation from families in coming back for some of those in-person story times. So that's something we're just going to keep watching and see, how that goes over the course of the winter or the fall and winter. Otherwise, when it came to like our numbers over the summer, we felt pretty good about the attendance we're seeing, and I thought those numbers were in the ballpark of years past, especially when you looked at some of the bigger events like kids stage programs and stuff like that. So still reaching those communities. I just think some people are understandably hesitant to come back to. Yeah, exactly.
I know that I asked in May, but have they asked parents about feelings about masks and stuff? Because I know that masks are not required. I would say they're not even necessarily recommended from the publicity that I've seen for the library. And like that's my hesitation with bringing my kids in. So I would just be curious about feedback on that.
Yeah, we're definitely mask recommended has been the language that I've seen, and the promotions that we're putting out. I'm pulling up now, for example. That's really interesting.
That's just the way I took. I guess I would say like if it said masks required for anyone of age, I would bring my kids in a heartbeat. But where it says recommended, I won't. So I'm just curious.
Yeah. So I'm kind of looking at some of the way we list these things now, and I'm not seeing language to that effect. I'm gonna make a note to myself about that. Thanks, Marie. Yeah. I'll talk to Kimberly about that. And kind of just get a sense of where,
I think, like especially moving into these cold winter months. That's what that's purely my hesitation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll report back.
I feel like we could move on to the action plan too. We've kind of like veered that way.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Is this the first one? Okay, yeah. Well, speaking of masks, I guess, wow, we really did veer that way. Yeah, we're wearing masks again when working with the public. This is something that was a citywide guidance and something that PRLG had started in advance of the rest of the PRLG being the Parks, Recreation, Library, and Golf department had started doing in advance of the rest of the city. So if you come visit the library, all staff, including security contractors, will be wearing masks, but we're not asking members of the general public to wear masks. It's just not something the city is doing at this time. But I did want to give you all that update since that has to do with COVID recovery. All right, been a busy couple of months on the outreach front. Last month we did the Celebrate Englewood event in August, and then in September was the Englewood Block Party. I don't know if I think we saw a few familiar faces come through. It was a great chance to talk to just a really huge number of citizens who came for that. We were there promoting the library, signing people up for library cards, giving out goodies, and just encouraging people to come by, sort of like the same thing we did at Celebrate Englewood. And then I mentioned here that the library has, we set up an Instagram account, which is just a couple, about a week back now. And we have, let's see here. So we just broke the 100 followers threshold. 40% so far are from Englewood, and then next after that is Littleton. And the person who's working on this, Caitlin Dugas, one of our new associates, mentions we're reaching our goal of younger patrons. 36% of our followers are in the 25 to 34% range, compared to 21.6% of our Facebook followers. So as it continues to grow, we'll see what those numbers look like. I'd certainly encourage all of you to give us a follow at Englewood Public Library if you haven't yet. So just, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that and I'm really glad you guys did that, mostly just because if at the gym we're going to reshare something, most of our primary following is on Instagram versus Facebook or other platforms. So
absolutely,
it helps us to help support you guys more too.
Cool. Yeah. So far, it's been mostly just, fun content, but you'll definitely expect to see when we have big events and stuff like that, we'll be sharing it on Instagram.
Where was the table at the block party? Because I actually walked around and I was like, I made a note to myself, like, I don't see the library, and I saw all the other public works, tables and stuff. So I must have just missed it, or I don't know if we
were all the way at the south end, right by the LED wall.
Okay.
We were sharing a booth with the recreation center and the Malley Center, and we had the big Englewood Library banner with so we were all the way at the south end by the LED wall.
Okay, I must have just missed you guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I was like,
no worries.
We should be here.
All right, other improvements. I don't know if you've been by lately, but the book drops, we got them rewrapped with the library card image. Looks much more colorful on both sides of the building now.
Awesome.
Yeah, cool. Glad you saw that. Yeah, I was really happy with how that looks. Way better than the extremely industrial governmental yellow beige that they were previously. And then we met with All Copy, which is a print and copy vendor, to review a proposal to replace our printers and copiers. When we started setting this up, we were having a lot of issues with connectivity on those, where we were constantly having to reset the printers and copiers. The network system was having a lot of issues. We worked with our IT department extensively to get that configured correctly, and so for the last month, or actually about 2 months now, the system has been working much better. So by the time we ended up getting a proposal from All Copy, the concerns that we had been resolved thanks to the IT department's help. And so we're not going to move forward with replacing that system at this time. It would have been quite expensive to do so. And what was proposed would have had certain drawbacks. So we did explore it, but it's not something that we felt was a good use of funds. And then we did send staff member to CalCon 21, which is the Colorado Association of Libraries convention, which surprisingly was held in person in Westminster this year. And they came back with some really cool new ideas for library services and vendor contacts. We talked about that a little bit last month, since the September meeting was late in the month. We'd already had a chance to kind of review some of that, and we talked about the RFID stuff that we kind of had learned about as a result of sending staff to CalCon 21. Okay, so like I said, busy month for outreach events. We also sent several staff members to host a booth at the Homeless Connect event, which took place a few weeks back on a Wednesday morning. It was really a great event in that there were just all sorts of different resource providers serving the low-income, no-income community who were there. And we didn't get a ton of traffic from people experiencing homelessness. But what we did get was just a great opportunity to network with all these other resource providers. And as a result of that, we've already got Arapahoe County Community Development is sending housing resource navigators here on Wednesdays and Fridays to work with people who are looking for housing. So I'm really happy about this because this means that we now have on Monday mornings a group called the Reciprocity Collective who has a presence here in one of our study rooms, and they're meeting with people regularly. And then on Wednesdays and Friday mornings, we have Arapahoe County here with housing resource navigators. And so it's kind of like, we don't have a social worker on staff, but we've partnered with all these amazing people in the community doing this kind of work. And so we have a presence of that sort of thing in the library. So really proud of that. And I think that this is just the sort of great stuff that comes from having events like the Homeless Connect event, where we were able to just start to get to know some of the people who are doing this work and get to know better the ones that we're already partnering with, people like Integrated Family Community Services and the Reciprocity Collective and All Health Network and those kind of people. Let's see. One of the big themes of the month, though, was staff turnover. And I'm sure you've seen stories of every business everywhere lamenting the difficulty in finding workers and retaining workers. And that's definitely been true for City of Englewood and specifically for the library. So we've had several of our part-time staff members either put in notice or transition into a sub role. And that means that we've had to hire some new library associates. So we had 2 that we hired and trained in September, along with 2 library associate substitutes. And we've got 2 open positions for library associates now. Got a 3rd library associate who is probably going to be going on FMLA leave. And so we're just really dealing, and then we've also had some challenges with our consistent support from contract security. The contract security company we work with is also dealing with staff shortages. And so there's times when we're requesting security coverage and they're not able to send a guard for us. So that's all these things together kind of creating some challenges in terms of just maintaining floor coverage for the library. Part of the reason I'm here tonight is we anticipated being kind of at our critical staffing level, and fortunately tonight worked out better. So that we dodged the bullet tonight, but we're definitely having some challenges on that front, and it's one of those challenges that kind of sort of spirals on itself, in that when we're short-staffed, we need to have the supervisory and management staff step in and help cover the library floor. And then we do hire people, then those same people need to be spending a lot of their time training. And then inexperienced staff need additional support. And so it's making it harder to do some of the above and beyond work that we really love to be able to do. And so I mentioned all this just so you all have some context for kind of what we're going through, and our strategies right now for solving this, of course, are to just try to streamline our hiring practices so that we can fill positions as quickly as possible. We're very fortunate in that the library associate, like our part-time jobs, we're still getting really good candidates, and we're still getting a lot of interest in those when we post them. It's not like some jobs where you can post it and just the candidate pool is very, very weak. We have experienced that with trying to bring in security, bring in-house safety specialists, as we're calling them, the security associate type positions. We have struggled more to hire that, which is why we're still relying so much on contract security. So we're just trying to be creative about how we get these positions filled quickly, get them trained quickly, and then making sure we're doing everything we can to work with the employees we've got to make sure that they're happy, that they're feeling supported, so that we can do everything to retain the good people that we do have. We're really happy with the staff that we've got. So it's not as if we don't have quality people. It's just a matter of that high turnover is something we've never experienced before. Okay. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we've returned in-person story times. Here's the quote I think that I was channeling when I mentioned earlier from Kimberly that numbers not up to pre-COVID numbers. That's okay, because that would be too many people in our space. And so, yeah, then there were the final sessions of Storytime in the Park with 306 people. So, yeah, we'll see how those go over the coming months. And Maria, I really appreciate the feedback about how you feel better if there are masks. Now, with the toddler story times, that's probably going to be more viable, or the preschool story times, that's going to be more viable. The younger the kid, the target audience, I think the harder that gets. Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, I'm mostly worried about the adults anyway, but the kids, like.
I hear you. Yeah. Sure.
Kids too.
All right.
Moving on. Oops, sorry. Down on my job here. To new business.
Great. So staff training day. We did this just yesterday. I wanted to let y'all know we had an in-service day where we closed the library so that we could do staff training. We brought all of our staff in for a variety of training sessions. So we started out the day with presentations from All Health Network, one of our community partners and the organization that actually has co-responders who work with Englewood Police Department for when they are working with individuals who are requesting access to resources or dealing with mental health issues, that sort of thing. And so one of the case managers from All Health Network was here explaining sort of the case management process, as well as the way the co-responders work with the police, so that if we have patrons who are in need of resources, we know who to call and how to get somebody to show up, even if it's if it's at 7 o'clock on a snowy night and there's it's too late to get into shelter, that there's somebody who might be able to just pull a rabbit out of a hat, sort of. And then All Health Network also did a de-escalation training for us about working with people who are escalated, aggravated, potentially dangerous or disruptive, different strategies for how to work successfully with those individuals, and also how to recognize the signs of when somebody is unlikely to be de-escalated and we need to call for assistance from law enforcement. So that was really valuable. Second session was we gave staff 2 options, because one of the options was something we wanted to make sure people didn't feel pressured into doing. One of them was training for Narcan/naloxone intervention in case of an opioid overdose. About half the team attended that session, and so we were given Narcan to keep on hand. It's not something we would ever require staff to use in an emergency, but it's there for somebody who has been trained and is comfortable trying to save a life in a circumstance like that. Vivint Health was here providing that training. They're a nonprofit in the community who does that kind of work. They also work with Denver Public Library. And they were mentioning this is something that has been, that they've had to use at not just the central Denver Library, but also their branch in the Highlands as well. So we found that very interesting. For the staff who didn't want to attend that session, they attended a session on restorative justice. And they're working with Ames Stenson, who does restorative justice here in the city of Englewood. And then we had our lunch break, and then we came back and we did rotating sessions where we just did kind of general staff training. Since we have so many new people and so much going on, we did training on circulation, customer service, merchandising and shelving, our patron code of conduct, writing our incident reports, just a variety of topics that we felt like was worth exploring in greater detail with people. And then we ended the day with group trivia. I did a sort of state of the library address to the team, and then we just answered questions. So it was really great to be able to close the library for a day and do that kind of training. I think this is something we will probably try to do annually. I think there was real value, and we've gotten some great feedback from the staff about it. So just wanted to loop you all in that was something that happened.
All right. The budget?
So this is about your budget, and I know you had asked for some recommendations. Kimberly has requested some money to do candy purchases and some small purchases for Trunk or Treat and the Jamboree. She said that what you asked for or what you gave last year, which Debbie, you might have those numbers. I don't have them on hand. I should have. Was way too much, and that she really appreciated it, but didn't want to end up trying to figure out what to do with the abundance of candy that she had previously. So she said that 200 on the outside would be adequate. So yeah, just that and I've asked a few people, and that was the only concrete request that I've gotten for the library board budget so far. But I'm happy to, yeah, I know that there's a real interest in doing the sort of annual breakfast that we didn't get to do last year due to COVID. I think we'd really love to be able to do something like that again. And I'm not sure exactly what the funding levels look like in the past for that. So that's not something we necessarily need to pin down the details of right now. But I did want to give you a heads up that that was just something that I think we are going to request probably next month.
So considering that this is October, we would need to move and pass now to kick in for the candy, right?
Yes.
So last year, the board donated $200.
Oh, really? All right, well, I'll let y'all do that as you will.
I don't think 200 is too high, because what I'm hearing from all kinds of people doing events is that they're getting more people than they expected. I'm hearing that a lot.
Can we make the term more like fluid too? Like fund spending for the children. Like, I don't know if that's allowed, but so that Kimberly can use that money at her discretion versus like only for candy. Is that an option, Debbie?
Yeah, I mean, Mark, is that something that would
Yeah, I think
help
that'd
you
be,
out?
I think that'd be great. Yeah. I know the children's budget, the programming budget is starting to get, down to it as we get toward the end of the year. So that, I think that'd be really helpful. I think we could even keep it, if we need to keep it fairly constrained, we could say for supporting the Halloween programs, including Trunk or Treat and the Jamboree.
Does anyone want to move
I'll
to
move
the motion?
to move $200 into the children's program needs what they need.
I would second that.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that passes.
Mark, I'm curious, just based on the training that you all did for just all the staff, if like funding for next year, like if there's a training or like a speaker that requires like payment of some sort to come and speak to you all, if that's something to put on the radar for next year as well, just given we have X number of dollars kind of towards the end of the year, and if the money from our budget could go towards something like that, I think that would be really beneficial for staff and just overall programming.
Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, I definitely, I don't have a specific request right now, but I know that there are some speakers who we'd love to be able to bring in and some groups we'd love to work with that would come with the cost. And I really think that staff training is absolutely critical for us. And, I think that's been one of my big learnings from this year. And not that it wasn't something we could anticipate before, but especially as we've gone through the turnover that we have, to see the difference when we get people trained properly, it's been really, really beneficial.
We also covered I think we provided like scholarship money for the conference a couple years ago as well, which I think was greatly appreciated. So just for your radar next year is
cool. Thank you. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Do our rules on the discretionary fund require the money to be spent by the end of the year or go back to the general fund?
I think think so.
Yeah, I think so
I
too.
would
I mean,
anticipate
we've
the
always
answer is
been-
yes. That tends to be how the budget works. Yeah.
Right.
How much is in the budget?
Yeah. Could I make a request that we have that number in our agenda or somewhere,
Each month?
Debbie, for future discussions?
So
I think that would be a
Board
nice
has-
add.
yeah, this year you have 1,500 remaining.
Okay.
After the jamboree.
So 1,300,
1,300.
yeah. And I will start including that number in the agenda.
That would be very
each
helpful.
month.
Thank you.
Yeah, good idea.
All right.
Do you
Well,
all have
bring us your-
anything? I was just to ask real quick, do y'all have anything that you want to see that you want to spend the money on? I mean,
Well, it's a lot of money. This is just throwing out a totally random idea, but ukuleles are pretty cheap. They might be a good item for the teen room or.
that's a cute idea, actually. Yeah.
Very, yeah.
Huh. That's a cute idea.
They're cheap and very easy to learn how to play, so they might be of interest. How much do you think you might need for the breakfast?
Maybe you know how much we spent on years past on that?
I feel like it was anywhere from like 300 to maybe 500, but I feel like that would be high, but everything is more expensive now. So if it would probably be helpful if you could price out any ideas for that.
We certainly will.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask what remaining events we have and what funds budgeted for them, so we know really what's left over to make decisions with.
My guess would be
500 for that and 200 for the trunk or treat.
so like 800
Mhm.
ish.
And it may be that we use some for the Holiday Express and
Yeah.
our presence there. So yeah, we'll come back probably next month with the second round of requests here as we start to pin down some details.
Like there have been years I think that we bought tables and chairs. So if there's any like
We may,
things that
yeah.
need to be replaced.
Yeah. I
I would
definitely,
also, I have never been to like the library story time, but if you happen to have any like children with sensory needs or special needs, like some adaptive seating for kids could be a useful addition.
Yep.
Maybe.
cool. I like that idea
That's
a
a good
lot.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking like the toys or the little fidgety things that are around the library have seen better days in the children's
Yes.
area too. So
Yeah.
Okay, so in 2020, the board gave 900 for staff
Oh.
to use however you wanted to use that.
oh yeah.
I think that was kind of supported a lot of our end of year purchases. We did do some furniture purchases. We did some tech upgrades. We did a variety of stuff with that money. So yeah, we'll try to be more specific this year though.
But we could do a blanket like, here you go, Debbie.
You could.
That's an option. Okay. All right. Anyone else? Let's move on to the old business and talk about the capital projects.
All right, so again, this is just a reminder that we're making a list of capital projects for the library. And this is something we'll propose at the beginning of our budget season next year for any needs that we do have. So we have things such as 3D printers, vinyl cutters, laser cutters, tables, various infrastructure items to possibly help support a makerspace area. We also had on here replacing book drops. That probably will be something we'll need to do in the future. Being that we just had them wrapped, they should last another couple of years pretty easily, but they run between 5,000 and 7,500 per book drop. So it may be something we phase in new book drops. I noticed that they were rusting at the bottom, so I think their life is coming to an end in the near future. But That's on the list. We talked about book vending machines last meeting to put out, which could be something fun. They're not cheap. I think the guess was around $58,000 to $70,000 for the vending machine, possibly.
That's for the, I think that was for the RFID.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right. To do all, yeah. Okay, perfect. So maybe the vending machines aren't that expensive, but various digital assets are on the list. Technology infrastructure, which may be out of the realm of the library, and that falls more on our IT department. But, and I also put on here a new library. That's in our future, I'm sure. So that's on the list. Nothing we can probably fund in the next couple of years. But does anybody have any items that they've seen when they're out and about that they'd like to add to the capital list? No?
I have none.
Okay. Well, again, if you wake up at 2 a.m. and say, great idea, just shoot us an email and we'll add it to the list. But we'll keep reviewing this. And like I said, once our budget starts over, we're going to be finishing the budget up here in October for 2022. And then we'll be starting it soon after in 2022 in the spring. So we'll keep going through this list each time. And again, like I said, if you have any ideas, just you can shoot us an email and we'll add it to the list.
Hopefully we'll know soon if the library's moving. I feel like that's a huge barrier.
Right. And all the conversations I've had with community development, there's still a lot of unknowns as to what's going to happen. I mean, the whole civic center, all the offices for the city employees that are housed there are going to have to move too. So there's a lot of things that have to happen first. I know MOA and Hamden Hall folks are asking, and trying to plan for what their future looks like. So as soon as we have information on that or have more of a date of when this could all happen, we'll definitely keep you all updated. So, yeah.
All right, staff's choice, anything?
I'll just mention that over the weekend I was in Durango on a trip and got to visit whenever I'm traveling, I always like to visit the public libraries, kind of just an opportunity to see what's going on elsewhere. And got to say, I was looking for an old professional mentor of mine who ended up working there. And anyway, I just wanted to just encourage you all as you travel, check out the libraries when places you go, and I'm always interested to hear cool new ideas. It's always that to me is just one of the best things about visiting other places. So that's all.
The only update I have 2 Holiday Express tickets are on sale right now. They just went on sale Monday, so get them before they sell out. And that's the first 2 Friday and Saturdays in December that's going to be happening over at Bellevue Park. And then the trunk or treat event is happening on October 23rd from 3 to 6. We are asking for everyone to reserve their spot. It is free to attend, but we'd like to have a head count of who's coming so we can be prepared. And that's at the 2nd floor parking garage at the Civic Center on the backside, where it was last year if you did attend that, by Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay.
Perfect.
Where are the where on the website are the Holiday Express tickets?
I believe if you go to the parks, right on the main webpage, you click on the Parks and Recreation, we should have a box to click and it'll take you directly to the tickets.
There are 2 links like at the very top of the page for Trunk or Treat and for Holiday Express.
Okay, thanks.
I bought our tickets earlier.
Yeah.
Nice.
Smart.
So, okay, well, good, thanks. I was wondering when the Holiday Express tickets were going on sale. So.
I have
Alright,
a question just about, I know we lost, I think, a board member like recently, and if you guys have already talked about this, I apologize, but do we have plans to add a new member, in 2022?
The city council posts like a couple times a year, I think, looking for volunteers, and then they interview them and then appoint. So it'll be whatever the next round of that is. Not sure when
February-ish.
Yeah.
The next appointment process will be effective February 1st. We are starting to accept applications. It is posted on the website if you go under government boards and commissions. So yes, we do have the vacancy, or that will be advertised, to fill.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Any other board member choice things?
Go ahead, Scott.
No, no, go ahead.
Well, if you insist.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say this is directed towards Mark. If you guys do get to the point where you're able to hire some reliable in-house safety specialists, or however we phrase that, and they're not contracted firms, let me know. We'd be glad to do some free training for those individuals, obviously for security, fitness and whatnot. Not fitness as far as muscle, but don't hit them. You're supposed to grab, and if you have to remove someone without striking, you want to control them and remove them and not hurt them. So
Thanks, Austin.
keep me in
Appreciate
mind
that.
for that one, of course.
Cool. Yeah, very cool.
That's it for me, other than if anyone's bored on Saturday, I have a Muay Thai fight in Aurora. So if you've never seen a live kickboxing match, you can watch your fellow board member.
Good luck.
Well, thank you. I'll need the luck.
Anything from schools? Oh, sorry, Scott.
Oh, no, you're fine. I
I
was just going to say, I wasn't at all surprised to hear about the turnover and staffing challenges. That stuff is everywhere. It's really wild. The, King Supers just went from being open 5 to midnight to 6 to 11. And the manager told me that's the reason. They're barely staying staffed as it is.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Anything from schools?
Nope, nothing much to share. We've got conferences this week, and so the teachers have conferences Wednesday and Thursday night, and so there is no school on Friday for comp day for conferences. But other than that, we're kind of cruising towards Thanksgiving break.
That's
which
good.
I know everybody's looking forward to.
City council, anything?
Update here. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Well, I think this is Dave and Jen's last meeting with us. I'm not sure, but I just wanted to thank you both for serving the city, whether you're going to stay here one more meeting or not. But, you guys both have left Inglewood better than you found it. You both have been, I'm happy for you both to have more free time though, too.
That is very nice of you to say. Thank you, Sarah. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Truth be told, I think it's more the citizens putting in time with things like this, contacting council people and the people on school board and in educational roles to get good ideas. So I can't overlook staff. There's nothing without staff. So council puts in a few hours, but it really is the citizens and staff. But thank you. I appreciate you saying that. That's very kind.
Yeah, I've really
Good eye.
appreciated working with you as well, both of you.
And congratulations.
Yeah.
All right. If there's nothing else, I will adjourn at, did we ever get that Guy Mason is here, Debbie?
Yeah, what? I'm sorry?
Guy is here. I think we missed him in our roll call. But
I did get him the time.
Okay, perfect.
Both him and Jen joined the meeting. So
okay, perfect.
all right, thank you.
We will adjourn at 7:48. Thanks,
Okay.
everyone.
Good night, everyone. Good seeing you.
Night,
Bye.
guys.
Everyone. Good job, Marie.
Thanks.